talk about the fact that their new album, their second album, well, I say new, came out right back at the beginning of the year. The second album for the band, Primary Colours, has been voted the #1 album of 2009. They came in yesterday. They were in quite good spirits as well. They were talking to other guys at NME upstairs, so look out for that in the upcoming issues of NME in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, it was good. We chatted for quite a while, and you're going to get to hear some of that interview now as well. This is also we've got a couple of session tracks to play that they recorded for us earlier this year as well. This is the Horrors in Conversation here at NME Radio yesterday.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hello. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you.
Your album has been voted the #1 album of 2009 in the NME, which has been published this week. What are your initial reactions to the news?
Very happy to be honest. I mean, for us it was always going to be the most important record of the year, and a great record, and we've had a great time playing it. So, you know, to get to December and have it voted as the #1 album by NME is just, you know, just a great end to what's been for us a really brilliant year.
Okay, so do these sort of lists, this kind of acclaim, like being nominated for the Mercury Prize and all that sort of stuff, does it? I mean, you don't strike me as the kind of band who are bothered by that sort of stuff.
Well, I think it's more that it doesn't. We're not motivated by it. You know, it's great to receive recognition when you put a lot, of work into something. But you know, it's really our desire to, to make music that makes us. That's why we're in the band.
Okay. The overall reaction to the record, has it been a surprise to you at all?
Not at all. I mean, you know, for us it was quite apparent while we were writing it that it was a really good record. You know, we had a really great time doing it. So for us, we were incredibly happy, and that was enough. So we were just looking forward to playing it. But of course, we didn't know what people were going to think, because it was a couple of years since the first one, and as a band, we changed, and things were changing as well. So I think we got so lost in the recording process and just doing our thing that we kind of forgot what anyone else was going to think at all. And we were asked a lot, while we were working, "Oh, how's it going? Are you getting into this kind of second album pressure thing?" And we were actually thinking, well, no, funny enough, we haven't felt like that. It's been really almost a relief to just close the doors and get on with it. So, no, we've all been very happy with the reaction.
I guess a lot of that pressure would have come with the first album as well, so by the time it comes to a second, that's sort of, I don't know, maybe you
yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I suppose so, but I mean, I don't know, we've never really thought about, that whole thing. It really is just about, getting in the studio and playing together, really. But I mean, as Reece said, we got kind of lost in it, because we're not one of those bands that, is going around playing everyone our demos throughout the whole process. We sort of, we kind of close ourselves off a little bit and step back and shut ourselves away. So, we very much had to rely on our own belief.
Well, I mean, shutting yourself away, you talk about how, I've read about how you made you had a darkened studio in Bath, and it was all sort of dark, and that's what...
I mean, everyone has a fairly dark studio,
Well, absolutely.
For us, it wasn't the idea, because it did end up in the first couple of interviews that it had no windows, there was no lateral light, and it was in complete darkness. But for us, it wasn't the idea of it being this dark environment. It was the idea that once you did close that door, and we were there for for a few months, and this is before we went into the studio when we recorded with Jeff. We were recording our own. The demos as we were going along ourselves, and so it wasn't just the idea of there being no light, it was just the idea that it was completely shut off. So the music really existed in that space, especially when we were very much working on with the recording side of things as well. So we had a chance to really explore the production side of things, trying out all kinds of sounds and working with new instruments. But for us, it's just when you're playing something, and something like Seas in the Sea or 3 Decades, for example, 3 Decades being one of the first tracks that we were really excited about. Those sounds are literally bouncing off the walls, and you're in this contained environment. It was that idea, rather than, we had to take ourselves into this dark studio space.
I guess people like to buy into that mysticism of it, and this sort of enigma of how the album was created.
But the thing is that, there is, there are always going to be those those kind of mysteries, and that's what, makes the music good. It's like, you listen to the separate tracks, there's still something else there that isn't, that you can't quite pin down, that makes things special, and a lot of that's to do with, with an atmosphere in the room. So there was something, sort of magical about certain parts of the process.
It was a single from their album Primary Colours, and it came out earlier this year. That was a recording made here at NME Radio earlier this year. Who Can Say from the Horrors. And now we continue the conversation that I had with the band who came in yesterday, or at least three of the band who came here to NME Radio Studios yesterday.
Well, we've been touring constantly. I think a few of our favourite shows have definitely been in Mexico,
right,
where the audiences are just amazingly passionate and give so much, and I think that we really kind of react to what's going on with. Because I'm not really a festival fan personally, but
is that the one on the Park stage?
We played up at the Park stage, and it was just as the sun was setting. It was on the Friday night. And it just felt, it was the first festival that we were playing the new album, so it was the first time a lot of people had heard it, and it was really, well attended, and it just one of those great kind of things, really. It was the perfect time to play it, and it just felt right. It was cool.
I can remember it was a Friday night, wasn't it? And I'd been drinking a lot of pear cider that day. And
yeah.
I knew that was one of the things for me. You kind of have your checklist of things that you might want to see at a festival or whatever. And coming up to see you on the Park was it, but none of my friends wanted to come up and see you. So I came up with my own, and that's what festivals are about, watching bands and you going off and sort of walking around your own. But I remember doing that, but I had so much cider that I was actually sick while I was watching you, and I've got a feeling it's something to do with the sort of sonic. I was lying on my back, and I was actually sick on myself while I watched it. But it was great. It's one of my highlights from the festival, and it's one of the few things I can remember about that night, that Friday. So we went to watch Q-Tip, and it was really disappointing in the end. But yeah, it was great. Coming out, and as you say, the sun going down. I can remember you in your jacket, vaguely. But yeah, no, it sounded great. And it was the first time I'd seen you do those songs live, and it was an album I'd listened to sort of endlessly leading up to that as well. So it was great to see that. So it's good that it stands out for you as one of the highlights. Yeah, I mean, have your opinions of the record industry changed after your experiences over the last few years?
I don't think we had an opinion to start with, but we certainly learned a lot. Certainly learned a lot about kind of being a very young or new band, kind of thrust into this thing and not really knowing what was going on, because again it was just for us about playing a few gigs really and making a bit of a racket to start with, just playing the songs that we loved and that was it really. So you do kind of like, especially now looking back, it's kind of, well, maybe if I'd had more of an idea about what was going on here, maybe we would have done things a little bit differently. Just find yourself in strange situations or in bright studios under huge lights and all this kind of stuff. I think essentially as a band, creatively, we always did exactly what we wanted to do. With everything from videos, artwork, and of course the songs and what we did live. I mean, I wouldn't change, and I don't regret anything about that. But I think on the other side of things, sometimes there's part of this machine that you get put in, and sometimes you don't really know what that's about, especially if you've only been playing together for a few months. So I think we certainly have learned a lot about it, but we're a lot happier knowing what we're doing and working with Excel, with an independent, and very much happier now. So
yeah, I mean, how did you worked with Jeff Barrow on the album? Is that something that's going to happen again? Are you looking to work with him on future material?
I think really the big thing with working with Jeff is that we definitely decided that we want to do it ourselves. We wanted we learned a lot about the recording process and being self-sufficient.
Yeah. So are you going to take what you learned from Jeff then and move away with yourselves?
I mean, he taught us that really. It was him. We didn't think, we at that point, although we've recorded most of the album, we thought we needed to work with a producer, and we wanted to work with someone who wasn't a conventional producer, which is why Jeff was our choice. But we soon learned that we've pretty much been recording all of these tracks anyway. And when we presented them to him, they were already recorded to a certain quality, and the sounds were there, and we were starting to mix them ourselves. So he really taught us that next time round, you guys should just do it and produce your own record, which is what we're going to do.